What's up, everyone? This is Christian Duke. You're watching StrengthAddicts.com. I'm so happy to be doing these interviews, interviewing some amazing people, including today's guest, the one and only Natasha Khoshnevissan from all the way in Maryland. How are you today, Natasha?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just, sitting here surviving in my house.
Awesome, awesome. So, we're doing this interview. This is a time slot she had available, and we're going to jump into all the action. There's a lot to talk about. I know Natasha to be a competitor that really loves to compete. She works with See You Later Leaner and really loves it. I mean, if you check out her Instagram, you post a lot of cool stuff. I mean, it looks like you take a lot of time in what you post.
Yeah, I do. I really try to I feel like it's another job though, to be honest too. That's my one thing is I'm really honest on my Instagram, and I do like sharing my life, like what I do at home, what I do with my team, or what I do with Adam, or what Adam has us do, what I do with my dogs, my family, my friends. I'm someone who's like really truthful in everything. I don't filter anything. It's just is what it is. So.
Absolutely. And you're talking about Adam Atkinson of See You Later Leaner, known for competing himself and pole vaulting. I don't know if he told you that he does that. It's very dangerous, where you run with the pole and you got to go over. But he's a hell of a great contest prep coach and sponsors a lot of StrengthAddicts coverage of the NPC and Pro League. So one of the things too that I wanted to point out is that it's a real team. A lot of teams are teams in the sense that, they might wear a shirt or a jacket backstage, but except for that, there's really nothing there. Adam does Instagram lives. You guys interact on social media, and the SYLL, whether the hashtag or that really cool green that you guys all wear, it's really a family, I feel like.
Yeah, it is a huge family. And during this COVID time, Adam has really built us even stronger. It's really unbelievable. I really might tear up thinking about it, to be honest. He's 3 times a week has had us join in on Zoom calls, like private Zoom calls, and not all of us can join in, but it's just nice. I've definitely done them 3 times a week just because I need that interaction. It's been hard not to see. I'm a personal trainer myself, so it's hard not to see my clients or anything like that right now. So just being able to see familiar faces and listen to Adam and talk to each other and ask him any questions we have other than just the check-ins that we have with him has been really nice.
Definitely. Definitely. And Natasha's actually over here and you at home are over there. So that's why I'm looking over here and over there. So, competing is so selfish. It's a very, very selfish endeavor. So much so that, Adam loved to compete, but he just doesn't have the time to do it anymore. And this interview is about Natasha, not Adam, but it's just interesting because Natasha, you're also a coach. And so it must get pretty daunting when you're in prep, but also working with these other competitors as well.
Yeah. So I do lifestyle coaching. I don't teach, I don't do competitors yet. I always say I don't want to do it ever, always, but I don't ever want to say never, ever. I hate saying that just because I don't, I know what it takes to coach a competitor, and I know what it is mentally on me, and I don't want to deal with a client like that, well, which is really bad to say, but I know it. I know what it's like. I love my lifestyle clients with everything in me. They give me their all. They have their own days where it's so hard on them, and I can't even imagine if they were in a prep because I know what the emails sound like when I send them to Adam. So for me to have to receive that back from a client would be heartbreaking. So that's why, I can't imagine.
Well, and there's nothing wrong as long as you're telling the truth. And, prepping a competitor is very tough. Now, for those of you at home, there are a very, very few of you that are not aware of fitness industry jargon, but a lifestyle client is a person that doesn't compete, but can be very, very hardcore. In fact, a lot of the transformations that you guys see, the before and afters that a lot of the supplement companies like to use in their ads, those would be lifestyle clients. So don't think that just because they don't compete, that they're not rigorously dieting, rigorously training, because they are, but they don't compete. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
That pause was interesting. It's okay, but yeah. So, and I love interviews like this because, you have to understand, guys out there, that, Natasha is such a hardworking competitor, and it's so great to have you in the industry because, again, it's going to be one of the questions that we ask later, why she loves competing so much. But doing contest coverage, I come across people that, make it so enjoyable, because, I don't know anybody that competes just, because they feel like forced to do it. Everybody there is there because they want to be there. You know what I mean? And I think that's so cool. Like, even tell them about, if you don't mind, tell them about Allie, like a friend of yours at the NPC Natural Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely. So she is someone who also works very hard, and she does it because she truly does love it. There is nothing in the world that will stop her from doing what she loves, and that's competing. She met me through Instagram, and it was truly just because she, like I said, I'm just really raw and truthful and blunt on my Instagram, as I am through any interview or has anyone met me. I just don't have like that filter. I say things the way it is. And she just needed like that extra support, and really loved that. That's the way I am. I put up my progress pictures during my off season. I don't put them only when I'm lean. So I put them up when I'm 40 pounds heavier and I am in my still little bikini, and nobody really wants to see. I mean, it's not a great scene of seeing, but that's the way it truly is as us as bikini competitors. So that's where her and I really connected, and she really liked my vulnerability. And I appreciate her also for her vulnerability. And we've really supported each other throughout off seasons and during deep in prep. And she came up and did her show there. And it was actually the first place I've ever done my show. And so it was really nice to see her and actually connect with her, not just through Instagram. So yeah.
And, that's total truth in advertising when you say you guys connected, because they were like this, I mean, it was like, she was so happy to see you and so grateful. And, I got to tell you, like, filters are cool, but sometimes when you're just straight up, brutally honest, blunt, I mean, just really, because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people will hide their off-season photos. You know what I mean? A lot of people, and I really feel like they shouldn't, because I feel like you can really make an impact on someone's life, and
Yeah.
and I think you definitely did there. So again, talk to us a little bit about how you discovered fitness. I know you had told me off camera that you were getting married and you wanted to get in better shape, but how did you discover the whole thing?
So I really just discovered it because, while I do come from a family where genetics is not in our favor, and I wanted to lose weight for my wedding. We had a couple years to plan our wedding. So we were like, okay, let's both get in shape, my husband and I. But I was just doing like running outside. I really hadn't stepped foot in a gym at all. We didn't even have gym memberships really. We didn't use them often. So I ran outside a lot. I started signing up for 5Ks just to keep myself like accountable. And then 5Ks turned into 8Ks, which turned into 10Ks. And then had my wedding, lost the weight I wanted to lose. And then it was probably around 40 pounds that I had lost. And on my frame, I mean, I'm 4'8", so that was a lot of weight. And then after that, I wasn't toned. I was just skinny. And I was like, gosh, I really wish I had some definition or something, but I didn't really know what the word was. I was just like talking out of air, basically just saying stuff. Right. One of my friends was really like into competing, knew a lot of competitors, and was like, you should just do a show, find a coach, do a show, see what it's like. And so I was just on Instagram, and I literally put in like hashtag bikini competitor or something, and was just scrolling through and found someone, and wrote them a message and saw their price, asked the pricing, this and that, and buckled down and did it. Did my first show, and it was that one in the Natural Maryland, and it was October, I guess it was, of 2017, and that was my first show. So that's where it all started, I guess.
Awesome. So sort of walk us through the getting in shape, getting to the goal, then wanting to compete. But how did your then fiance, then husband, what was his role throughout that process? Was he very supportive, or did you simply not really talk to him about it, just kind of do it? Like, what was, I'm curious, because a lot of folks that want to compete, believe it or not, lack the support from their significant other.
Yeah, they really do. And I hear it more often than not. So actually he was really supportive, and he's always been super supportive, which I'm really blessed to have. He, then husband, before we got married, he was like, well, I'll lose weight with you too. So he lost the weight for the wedding, and he loses it like in a week. So it was easy for him. But then when we got married, once I decided that I wanted to compete, I said, listen, this is going to be like really grueling. Are you sure this is okay? This is financially how much it costs. They're expensive, bikinis are this much, this is how much shows are. He was like, all this gets planned out. He's always been very, very supportive. When I decided to leave dental and do personal training as well, right there behind me, no matter what. And I think that's where we both really like excel in our relationship, is no matter what each of us want to do, we'll back each other no matter what. I don't think it's fair to take that away from someone. If there's something that somebody really wants to do, that you should back them up no matter what it is. I always give into the things that he wants in his hobby. He's motorcycles, or he's also a pilot for fun, just as like private. So if that's something that he wants to do, go for it. Motorcycles are his thing too, go for it. So it's always, a give and take in every relationship, and he is very supportive of it. He makes my meals for me and heats them up, and I'm really, really, really thankful. I hear it a lot backstage though, that like, oh, this is my last show. My husband doesn't support it. And it's hard, really hard for me to hear it. And I always come back to him. I'm like, thank you. Just thank you. Because I could never imagine doing any of it.
And where it's I feel like the most heartbreaking is like at Masters Nationals, because there, or any, Masters NPC show, but more so Masters Nationals, because it's like the best of the best, the whole country is there, and when you meet somebody and they say, I'm finally competing. And when you say finally, that's a key word, because it's like, sometimes it's people that are in their, well, first of all, you gotta be over 35 to compete at Masters Nationals, but usually it's people in their 40s, 50s, and some even 60s. They've waited a whole lifetime. They've raised their kids. They've even partially raised their grandkids, and then they can finally compete, and it's like, that's so like upsetting, and it's, I want to say it's all women, but it's a lot of guys too, it's more women, but it's still a good chunk of guys where, their wives don't like, why do you want to do that? And yesterday I interviewed Anastasia Ryder, a women's physique competitor. She owns a gym in Tampa, super nice. And she said something that I thought was really interesting. She said, sometimes like when someone's unsupportive of the significant other competing, they'll say, I like you just how you are. I've always thought of that as being a really sweet thing to say, but it could actually be used to control somebody, to say, no, I actually like you just how you are. Don't change, So I think it's great that you have that support from your husband.
Yeah, I do too. We've always gone, and also like kids, we don't have kids right now. We just have, and we're in our I'm 30 this year and he's 31. And,
really?
we took dogs. Yeah.
I totally wouldn't sell you a beer. Totally. I would think you were a narc. I'd be like, no.
Listen, I get ID'd at movie theaters. So
yeah.
So yeah, still. So, yeah. And we keep putting like the kids on hold every year, because he's like, this is going to be your year. This is going to be your year. And I look at him and I'm like, are you sure? Like, I don't want to do this because of you, like if you want, he's like, of course I want kids one day, but like, you're doing this, like you're doing great. And I don't want to. And so he is a huge, and Adam and I have talked about it, my coach, and he's like, wow, like he's incredible. He's the best. I can't even. Yeah. So
I don't want to be like one of these weird fitness industry people, but like you guys have like some furry kids, right? Sort of.
Yeah, we have 2 poodles, because I don't like shedding in my house.
Right. For sure.
Freak. I don't like hair everywhere. So I have a little miniature poodle. His name's Einstein. And then I have a huge one named Newton.
Nice. Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about, so we talked about how you discovered fitness, and we talked about how much you love fitness. In fact, that's going to be a question later, what you really love about competing. But talk to us about finding your first coach and going from that to Adam.
Well, okay. So I found her, like I said, on Instagram. I'm pretty sure it was like hashtag bodybuilding, something like that, competing bikini competitor. And then I found her, and she was online only, remotely. And then we clicked like really, really well. I was just like, let's do this. She used to compete. So I was like, oh God, she looks great, this and that, in my head. I was novice. I just like had no idea about it. I was just getting into it. knew me. I had no idea. So we really went all out, did everything. I did my first show October 2017, and it was the Natural NPC Maryland. And I guess it was like Peter Gordon and Gary Udin and all of them. And I got first in like every class I did. And I was like, this is a high. Like, that's when I knew, like, I'm going to do this forever. Like, this is never going to stop. And then we kept going on, and we took an off season, and then we started again, and we did the Border Clash in March. And that did not end up as well as we'd like. I feel like we should have maybe leaned out a little bit more or something. And she agreed, and it was just, that show was rough. Like, it was such a big show too. And then we unfortunately had a falling out. We had planned another NPC Gary Udin, I guess it was the Maryland, in April. And 2 weeks before that show, her and I had a falling out, and she had dropped me as a client. And it was probably the most devastating like weekend of my life. I did not even leave my house. I just cried all weekend. And I actually planned a photo shoot that weekend too, but I had to go to that. And so I went to the photo shoot, came home, and just continued to cry. My husband made all my meal preps though. He was like, you still have to keep on track. We don't know what you're going to do. She had dropped me. I'd asked this pretty simple question. She had increased my cardio, and I was like, oh, well, do you mind if I do it with my training at night? I was working a 9-to-5 normal job, and it kind of went like berserk. She thought I was questioning her as a trainer, and I really wasn't. I was just asking kind of a simple thing. And I've explained all this on my social media before, so that's why I don't mind ever anyone asking me about it. I've had multiple people message me, hey, I know you used to have an old coach. Like, I'm having the same issue. So I've connected with so many people about it. And I do wish her the best. Like, her and I have had a conversation weeks after that, because I hadn't heard from her for days after she had dropped me. So I had no choice but to really find someone. I was 2 weeks out. So then I found Adam. I was interviewing a bunch of people. And for some reason, him and I really clicked over the phone. Like, there was something about him really taking care of me and making sure that I would be okay as an athlete. And I knew, and my husband was like, if you're going to do this forever, and I remember him telling me this specifically in the car, and it was when I was coming back from the photo shoot, he said, if you're going to do this for a long time, let's get on a team. And I said, okay. And I was like, well, what is that reasoning? And he said, you're going to be handled way better as an athlete, I feel like, if you're on a team with someone with a lot more of a background and more history, something like that. And I said, okay. So we had a bunch of interviews, and Adam just stuck with us. There was something about Adam that just gave us this good feeling. And so that's where we went with.
And he's very personable, and he really knows what he's doing, but he's got a really cool personality. He's not, he doesn't have like one of those domineering personalities, and I really liked it about him, but he does get his points across very effectively. A couple things that you said there too. You interviewed people, which you didn't do the first time. The first time you found through a hashtag. So hashtags do work, but and I don't want you. I certainly don't want to throw your former coach under the bus or anything like that. But I think it's fair to say that you guys did not really sync. And maybe the first show that you guys did, maybe I know that you say that you come from a family where genetics aren't the greatest, maybe meaning that you hold some weight, but some of the people that have really fast metabolisms and can eat whatever they want, they're always skinny, they also have, they're working out for them for building muscle. So maybe you didn't have the ability to keep weight off so easily, but maybe you gain muscle faster. What I'm trying to say is that maybe your genetics did help you enough as to where that first show you had success, but when you tried your luck again, it didn't pan out. I don't know. But a lot of times, through my work in media, I've noticed that coaches always get upset when a competitor gets off the plan for whatever reason, whether it's training, nutrition. It's not a good thing. But if a coach doesn't really know the ins and outs of prep, the anger is based more so not on disappointment in the athlete, but on not knowing how to fix the mistake the athlete made. And so at that point, if you ask too many questions and you're already in that situation, an inexperienced coach, or maybe a coach that doesn't know how to fix the problem, will drop you. That's one thing. The other thing too is that a lot of competitors, for some reason, get ghosted the week before a show, or the weeks leading into a show. Like my friend Mary Beth Ewing, she hired a coach online, paid a ton of money, and could not get a hold of this person. But especially with the ghosting, because the last week is the hardest week. A lot of coaches don't know how to, they don't know how to dry out somebody correctly. Some coaches will carb load, sodium load, so that's the trickiest week. So that's that on that. But with respect to Adam, I wrote something down here, the interviewing people. I think that was really, really big leagues of you. And I think probably people should do that when they look for coaches in the future also, no?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think that interviewing is so important, and make sure it's someone that you think can fit with your lifestyle. And nothing against any different type of the way people coach. Everyone coaches differently. My old coach had that, what they say now is old school bodybuilding mentality, where it was strict meals throughout the day. I mean, I was on like 6 meals worth of tilapia and asparagus. Tilapia, asparagus, or like boiled chicken, literally. So it's different. But everybody's like to each their own, and I'm cool with that. Like her peak week plans, or whatever you want to call it, was, sodium depleting, or, so it literally is, everyone's different. And Adam is if it fits your macros type of style. So, and every coach is different, and they are allowed to be different, and I am completely cool with it. But that's where, as an athlete, you have to go with what works with your lifestyle. That was really stressful for me as for my old coach, because if I was like 30 minutes late on my meal, it was like a whole problem. So it was like, and it made me anxious and stressed out. And now that I've educated myself a little bit more, I'm sure my cortisol, my hormones, everything was probably all over the place, and the weight gain was even worse. So now that I'm a little bit more seasoned in it, I can kind of understand that, of course. So yeah.
But that goes back, what's your husband's first name?
Ollie.
That goes back to what Ollie was saying about, if you're with a coach like Adam, who works with more people, he'll know how to handle you better. And the thing is, Adam has heard all about the cortisol levels. He's heard all about the holding water. He knows it. You need somebody who, if you ask a question, can answer you quickly, and effectively. And that's a big thing too. I think communication, I hear from a lot of people that work, and I don't want to turn this into a commercial, but it's the truth, that work with See You Later Leaner. When they have a question, it gets answered in a timely manner, which is huge for a competitor. When you hire a coach, that's a huge, huge plus.
Yeah, no, it really is. And the main reason I really did pick Adam was and I really researched a lot, and I actually spoke to a lot of his athletes too. And the other people that I interviewed, I spoke to their athletes as well. I messaged them, and I said, what do you like about them? Have you ever, and truthfully, honestly tell me, have you had any like issues? What issues do you feel like with your coach? There is no way nobody feels any issues like negatively towards their coach. There's no way. I mean, I don't see that as like, there has to be something that kind of irks you a little bit with your coach. Like, there's no way you're going to feel 100% okay with them all the time. There's going to be days where you're like, oh, like this kind of bothers me, but it's, he's worth it because, or she's worth it because. But with Adam, he's so science-based, and he's very much about like the health and the well-being, and, checking our blood work and going to the doctor and having the doctor on our team and things like that, where it was like, okay, this is more like you're getting really everything worth it, like for what he is. So.
And that's something too, like they say, you get what you pay for. The fact that he has medical directors, he has, RDs on staff. I mean, that's not a requirement, but it's definitely upping the game, And one thing too, the last thing I'll say about the team, because, this is your interview, but I feel like, definitely you're part of the team. So I feel like a lot of teams are comprised of folks. I don't know if maybe they're insecure, or if, they're a little bit on the selfish side, but where members of a team will like literally fight amongst each other to sort of corner the coach, get as much attention with the coach as possible. Whereas with See You Later Leaner, I feel like everybody gets the attention they need, and there isn't that squabbling, that pettiness, that negativity there. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Really, there isn't. All of us, whether you're an IFBB pro or whether you're an amateur, whether you just literally joined, and whether you're one of his lifestyle coaches. I mean, Adam trains lifestyle as well. So whether you're one of those, we are all a friendly with each other, and we are all one with each other. And he treats all of us the same way, and he treats all of us equally as well. I mean, he is there for each of us at the same time. So there's nothing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now,
Mm-hmm.
with respect to 2020, I mean, this has been like, without a doubt, the most trying year that I have ever experienced in the fitness industry, the work life, whatever. Um, do you have a show planned for 2020? I mean, like, what
I'm
has
hoping
2020 been like for you?
2020 has been okay. So, like, I've been in prep since maybe February, beginning of February, and it's been a slow prep for me, very, very slow. Because basically most of it's been at home training. So, there's been that. But we were hoping to hit North Americans again. Was our goal, and then maybe in Miami, but we'll see. I mean, my body is definitely not reacting like it did last year, just because I don't have the gym that I did, but I'm just working out even harder. So we'll see. I mean, I'm hoping North Americans. Coach is he's more positive about North Americans because it's over a 5-day span, you know? So he just feels more positively about it because it's over a 5-day span and it's not as many people. He does think that we won't be able to have like friends and family, things like that, maybe, but we'll see. I'm just keeping positive.
Yeah, you gotta keep positive. You gotta like keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Even if you're not superstitious, be superstitious. But like,
Oh, I'm very superstitious.
yeah, Gary and I, we all think it's going to happen. You know, especially because these shows are spaced out; they're farther out there. You know, but a lot of the the May shows, the June and even July shows, it's a little iffy. But now, the last thing I want to ask you too is about the COVID-19, the pandemic. What's Maryland like? Because Northern Virginia, I mean Virginia itself, but especially Northern Virginia, which is basically like where you're at, sort of,
Yeah.
has been really, really strict. And I'm assuming, maybe reading in between the lines, the reason you don't have access to your gym is probably because of the fact it's closed, no?
Yeah. So no, actually, Northern Virginia, they started opening their gyms, but I think they've restricted like the number of people being able to go in. But Maryland's pretty bad. So the numbers keep going up. They just sent that out again, that it's gone up. And Montgomery County, which is the county that I'm in, actually said that like whatever Hogan, our whatever, yeah, he's decided that he that they'll keep the stay-at-home policy even longer, no matter what, just because Montgomery County keeps going up. So that's just the hard part, is that people really aren't listening here though either. So I'm kind of like back and forth a little bit about it also. It's frustrating to see people really not sticking to the stay-at-home policy, and then the numbers just keep going up, and it's a hard like pill to swallow, kind of.
And it's become such a politicized issue too, because
Right.
the folks on the left are more apprehensive. The folks on the right think it's a hoax, and it's like, I don't know, like you don't want to even say anything on social media because a lot of businesses are really hurting. A lot of them are going belly up. So it's like you don't want to be insensitive and be like, no, this is real. How can you say it's a hoax? But like, it is one of those things. So hopefully it'll be controlled and we can turn the page. I mean, at some point it's got to go back to normal. And I really want to thank you for doing this interview. It was a complete lie that I told you that it would be 5 or 10 minutes. I really think it's like an hour, but it's totally fine because it's a great interview, and hopefully, yeah, we can do more, because I don't feel like we've covered everything. Natasha, last name, please.
Khoshnevissan.
So I definitely want to have a future one or two.
Yeah.
But to wrap up though, like any sponsors you'd like to promote, any businesses, any friends and family, whatnot, and of course your own social media.
Yeah. So my social media, you can follow me on Instagram at littlebitfit, and the E in little is a 3. I'm sponsored by Angel Competition Bikinis. So you can check them out and you can ask me for a code. I can get you a discount there. And then my amazing team with See You Later Leaner and Adam Atkinson. and then my amazing husband, Allie.
Awesome.
And my
And there was
friends
a question.
I guess.
Yeah, and there was a question where I was asked Allie what she loves about competing. We're going to say that for the next interview because we're going to do another
Yes.
interview at some point, you know, and definitely stay tuned for that. And thank you again for doing this. And
Thank
I think
you.
definitely, and I think that your story will actually resonate with a lot of people. I know it resonated with Allie, and I know it'll resonate with more because, again, how you find a coach, you know, is so, so important. Being able to break with a coach. Again, I don't want your original coach to feel like we're throwing her under the bus. We're not.
No.
But it's a very, very, you know, common thing that happened where you guys gelled as friends. A lot of times people don't want to break with coaches because they don't want to lose the friendship. So I think it's great that you guys are friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, it doesn't work out like professionally speaking. And sometimes you got to find like your Adam, like your see you later leaner. And sometimes you got to listen to your see every other who gave you the best advice ever, you know?
Yeah. And that's okay. You know, sometimes it just doesn't work. And that's not only just with coaches. It's just sometimes in life, things just don't work. And eventually you'll find that groove and it'll end up working out. And it's really okay.
Definitely. Definitely. So again, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Definitely like and share this interview. And thank you again for Natasha
Khoshnevissan.
Khoshnevissan. This is Kristen Duke. A lot of times people will say Dookie. It's not Dookie, it's Duke. But I always know it's a telemarketer when they say Dookie. I'm like, there's no way I'm buying
Not
this
available.
scheme. No way.
Right.
Thank you so much. Christian Duke, StrengthAddicts.com.